this is Jay.
This is Bob.
And this is Steve.
And we are Alpha Quadrant 6, a Star Trek Discovery after show. Spock! Spock!
So we just got through watching episode 4 of Star Trek Discovery, and I'm liking it. I think it was a really good episode. Entertaining. I enjoyed it. The plot was just a teeny bit predictable. I called the whole... Let's give it a quick overview.
Oh, how about a recap, though? A quick recap of last week?
Yeah, last week I didn't really hear anything from last week's show that was different than what we talked about. I thought the general vibe was people were like, okay, the first 2 episodes were kind of weird. This 3rd episode, they're feeling the groove. It's Star Trek. It was good. They're on the Discovery. They're meeting the crew.
They're good.
Generally good feedback on the 3rd episode.
Yeah, it's very good. For me, the most important thing about episode 3... excuse me, was that you really got a sense of what this season is going to be like.
Yeah.
So we now know that the whole, this culture of science and the clash with the culture of war and how's that's going to go. That's going to be big for the season, obviously. And also the whole slow reveal of Captain Lorca and his mission. That's going to be another big thing about. So those are 2 big chunks of what we can expect to see this season. And also Klingons mumbling, whether we know about that.
So we're seeing a lot of tension, though, in the crew. This is not typical Star Trek. Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry created Star Trek to be a bright look at the future and for the crew to not have any real conflict with each other specifically. And you see that, blazing out in most of the other Star Trek, TV or movies that we see. This is the first time that the crew is contested and there's problems amongst the crew in a way that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, you get a sense that war is not a common thing in the Federation for a while. Not yet. And even
this is
with,
when that changes.
Right, and even with the original Trek, right, the mission with Kirk and Spock, they had their skirmishes and their things, but there was no extended war like they're on now. So this is something that's kind of new, and they're just like, wait, I signed up to be a science guy, and like, no, you're gonna help with this war. Thank you very much.
Another thing we're seeing with this episode is that this is a arc. That these are a continuation of last week's story.
It's not episodic; it is an arc. Yeah.
Right, which is not typical, and I have to learn to be patient because it's a new way of
I like it though. If you invest in it more, but I think that's more common nowadays. Not as much of the episodic. So the quick overview for this week was the Starship Discovery is called upon to rescue some dilithium miners, right? The colony that mines 40% of the dilithium for the Federation. Sounds like a lot of eggs.
All your eggs in one basket, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And the Klingons were attacking.
The Klingons are hitting it. So, and there was no defense, I guess, for this vital resource. So the Starship Discovery has to get there. They're the only ship who can get there in time. If they could get this new super high-tech instant transportation from anywhere in the known universe to anywhere else in the known universe working in a few hours, right? So this is like...
a job for Scotty.
We need this incredible technological advancement. And of course, they pull it off with a massive insight from Michael Burnham, the main character, which is the thing that I thought you kind of saw coming a mile away.
Sure, right. Yeah. The tech that they stole from the ship that inverted itself, that tech...
The other Starfleet ship.
Right, the other Starfleet. That spore tech, they had everything, but there seemed to be something missing. But then Michael is working on the tardigrade, and she's like... Ripper, and she saw a connection in Ripper before they did a jump. So the conclusion was kind of obvious, like, well, all right, they need to come together.
They laid out all the pieces of the puzzle for you. It's like, well, there's something missing. It needs some kind of supercomputer, and then there's this creature that has some interaction with the spores.
Oh, maybe that's the missing component.
It was a little heavy-handed. I would have liked them to have struggled for maybe a number of episodes trying to figure out how to engage. I
don't know. Yeah, whatever. It's hard to say. I mean, how to pace something like that. It's also something to be said for just getting it out of the way and going on to the next thing. So we'll see. What I mean, rather than lingering on one little reveal.
They're kind of stuck in my opinion between an arc and an episodic type of show. If it is an arc, then yes, take a few episodes. Let me really, feel that growth of her discovering what that creature is. But they essentially shot their wad in one episode.
There's a sweet spot. I agree, and it was a little rushed, but I thought that's okay with me as long as they go on to something good next week. Then I'm fine.
Right.
They don't have to squeeze 3 episodes out of this one, somewhat obvious plot line.
Yeah.
Which one we were joking about. So this creature. You can go to the picture. before they revealed it on the show, we're saying, hey, that thing looks just like a tardigrade.
Yeah, right.
And then 2 seconds later, like, this thing is related to a tardigrade.
Yeah.
It's basically a giant tardigrade. But the other funny thing,
a good choice, by the way, because they're tiny, microscopic, but hardy as hell.
Yes,
they can literally survive space and then come back.
Would
and
that scale up?
Throw it.
But they have to be. But they have to be.
Question.
They have to be dried, desiccated in order to do that. But whatever.
That's fine.
But the other thing that we all kind of thought of the same thing is, so they figure out that this creature was the missing supercomputer that tells the spores where to go. And basically, this thing is a guild navigator.
Yeah, totally.
Guild navigator.
It even kind of looks like him. It's this big,
bulbous kind of
thing.
So I ask you, our audience, when they connect to the tardigrade, they connect to its nipples. I looked at that and I'm like, they could have picked a better spot to connect to it. It totally looks like they're tweaking the thing's nipples. Like, come on.
Clamps,
But so the interesting thing for me, though, because I have a problem with this spore drive, because this is like,
so do I.
Really? Come on. Instantaneous. This is the infinite improbability drive, essentially. They even throw in the word improbability, the longer the distance is. So come on.
So dark matter had the blink drive.
It's too much. It's too much because
it's too much advancement, which we know they don't have in 10 years.
Right. We know they don't have it in 10 years, but we also see the seeds of its demise, because the creature clearly does not enjoy this process. So they're going to get as much as they can out of the spore drive, and then it's going to be like, it's too painful for the tardigrades. We can't use this anymore, even though it's an amazing, come on, this is like an amazing technology. So I have a problem with it, technology that's too awesome.
And it's a bigger problem than just in this episode. I mean, we have seen this before in in the Star Trek movies. In the reboot of the Star Trek movies, we're seeing like massive advances in transporter tech. And we don't like that because
you don't need ships anymore.
We said this last week.
Planet.
Yeah, it paints them into a technological corner where then they have to be doing silly things like disabling the new technology or whatever things. It just doesn't work for long-term plot.
And another example, I love the gore. Keep up the gore. I love the gore. It's really they amped it up a bit for this show, but. He's in sick bay. This guy's nose was like
chief engineer.
Bad. I mean, it was nasty, literally within moments, all healed, bone healed, skin healed. I mean, okay, it's the 23rd century, but that's a little potent.
We've never seen it before. Not even on Next Gen, we've never seen that level of tech.
I'm okay with them saying, okay, where would the technology really be here? Even if it's not in line with canon or with other series, like that kind of thing.
Right.
It's like, okay, the regeneration tech would be better, because now we have the CG to make it, to do it. The original series didn't have the CG. Okay, I'm okay with that. I have a bigger problem with advancing the technology in such a way that really takes it easy on the characters.
Yeah.
So, we talked last week about the fact, or I think it was last week, where now suddenly they have intra-ship teleportation. They can transport from one point on the ship to another just by telling the computer, hey, take me to point B. Which is out of sequence to the canon.
Right.
But the bigger thing is, it's like it kind of makes it too easy on them. They don't even have to physically walk to another part of the ship now in order to get something done.
Only if it's an emergency.
Yeah, the problem is it's harder. Yeah, it's harder to, because then you have to always walk it back by contriving some way while they don't have the get out of jail free card that you gave them on previous episodes. You have to always think, what's the implication of them having this technology?
Right, and we're seeing them use the food processor unit to manufacture physical goods.
Yeah, but I'm okay with that.
Right, but
they should have that.
I totally agree.
And awesome opener, by the way, because you're like, wait, what is going on? Is it some asteroid field? Is there some transportation technology? Like, no, they're actually manufacturing her uniform, which is very sharp, by the way. Yeah. So that was a very cool opening. Loved the opener. Go ahead, sorry.
I'm just saying there's a lot of implications. When they were making food items, that was one thing. But now we fully have seen, and we have to acknowledge, yes, they can manufacture pretty much whatever they need.
I'm okay with that as long as they have thought about how that's going to affect the show and the writing and the characters. That I'm okay with that. I don't need them to have a problem by getting a doodad. But the idea that they could, now this has now been extrapolated to the ship itself. They could go in and go out anywhere. It kind of removes a massive challenge from them in a way.
Yeah, I agree.
And now they're going to have to write their way around it. It's like with Doctor Who. there always has to be a way for him not to be able to get access to his TARDIS.
Right.
Because otherwise the episode's over. If he has access to the TARDIS, he'll leave or whatever. That will fix the problem. So they have to contrive a way while he's separated from it. So I'm worried that they're going to be contriving ways that they're not going to be able just to pop in and pop out wherever they
Exactly,
want to go.
right? You don't want it to be like, look, if everything is operating normally, then we should solve this week's episode in 30 seconds.
30 seconds,
And, yeah, so then it's...
But this is tricky tech. So
Yeah, I get
they
you.
kind of already built
I get
it.
you, yeah.
It's going to fail.
But we don't want to sit there. You don't want the experience of watching a TV show or a movie or reading a book and going where it takes you out of the book when you're thinking, oh, how are they going to have to undo that?
Yeah.
And I do that a lot. When I watch movies, I'm deconstructing them as I'm watching them.
Yeah, you don't want them to be gimped either. Like one of my beefs with a lot of the Star Trek movies is like the Enterprise is always gimped. It's always destroyed or blown up or whatever.
Right, yeah.
I want to see the crew in their prime with the ship working.
Yeah, speaking of that, I totally agree. I loved seeing them practice. I loved seeing them have a fake simulation. Now we knew that it was a simulation, of course, because it just seemed the most likely thing. But the fact that the captain was busting their balls about it, saying, "Hey, you guys, you screwed up this time. We're dead, and you can't do that." And it was an opportunity for him to give the crew a speech, which I think is cool because we got to hear what Lorca really thinks. Like, today after watching this episode, I feel like he's more of a good guy.
He is, but he's also more of a hard ass than any other Star Trek captain has ever been.
Yes,
I love that. I actually love that.
Yeah,
right. And we're gonna. I think. The actor Jason said that, or Lucius Malfoy said that we're going to see he's the craziest captain that's ever been on Star Trek. So I'm anticipating some crazy stuff, but I love him. I love his character so far.
So far, I'm digging it too. Yeah, I like it.
He's excellent.
So major character death.
Commander Landry, she deserved it. She deserved it
to die.
Yes.
I don't know. I like her. I like the character.
She was stupid.
Yeah, that was
what
a
are you
stupid
doing?
decision. An unbelievably stupid decision from the chief of security.
This creature has claws that can rip open ship hull. If this thing shrugs off phaser blast, like give it some gas and knock it out. Okay, open the gates. Whoa, wait a second. I mean, no precautions. That was way too foolhardy.
It was contrived.
Too contrived.
The showrunners decided let's kill a major character. A semi-major character. Well, she could have easily become a major character.
She could have, yeah.
I liked her. I liked the character quite a bit, actually.
I like the actress.
Yeah, but okay, I totally agree. Like these more realistic TV shows that we have now, we're in the golden age of TV. Characters should be dying on shows that are serious like this.
It's the Game of Thrones effect.
Right. Nobody's safe. Nobody's safe. Almost nobody's safe.
But please don't have the death be a throwaway. It was totally contrived. Make the person die with a little teeth. In other words, make me care. Make me care.
Careless.
It was careless.
I was a little shocked that they did kill off that character because it seemed to me like she had room to grow. Like that character could have had an arc, and she was fitting in, had her own vibe.
Yeah, definitely.
And she had a special relationship with Lorca, sharing secrets that he would share with nobody else. But now I guess Michael is the new person that he will share stuff with.
But still, I think. Yeah. But I thought I like it. It was brave of them to kill off a character.
Absolutely.
That was sort of firming up to be like a semi-major character.
Of course, but they could have had a couple of moments with this character. Us as the audience, we should have seen her be a human being a little bit more, just so we cared a little bit more about her.
They could have brought us in more before.
Right before they did it, but they didn't. They kept her at a very sterile level the whole time.
Right, and don't make her fall, and don't make her die making horrible decisions that nobody would have made.
I don't like the fact that I'm sitting here and I'm coming up with better plot lines than the showrunners. Like, she should have saved Michael's life. That would have been, legitimately saved Michael's life. Maybe Michael makes the bad decision and she saves her. That would have had more teeth.
Whatever. I mean, I think that. They should have done more with that, and it would have been good if they brought us in a little bit more with that character. But whatever, it was fine. I mean, obviously they knew that they were going to be killing her off in episode 4. Right. It's only the second episode that she has been on because the first 2 wasn't even on the Discovery. But in any case, I like it. I think at the end of the day, killing off a character of that caliber this early on in the show is a good thing. Yeah. Because now we're on notice. Like, okay, they're not afraid to kill off characters, Yeah, that's good. No, it's good for the show. Keep going. I really did enjoy the show. It was tense. Yeah, it wasn't as Tasha Yar, though, I have to say that. Tasha Yar was more of a throwaway than Commander Landry. Yep.
Skin of evil.
Yeah. One thing I do want to say, the Klingons, I hate to say it, they're annoying me. It's kind of annoying. Like,
they were a little better this episode, I thought. I thought the speaking is still very monosyllabic.
They've got to tone it down. Tone down the inability for them to speak. They should be very eloquently speaking their freaking native tongue.
Everything,
right?
I mean, it's okay. It should sound alien to us. I mean, I'm kind of giving them a little bit of benefit of the doubt. Saying, okay, Klingons are alien. It may not sound, like flowing to us or fluent to us because we're humans and they're Klingons. So, okay, that's fine.
But when you zoom out, when you take one click out, it is a little irritating.
Well, I think my problem with the Klingons is that they overdid everything. Yeah. Everything is over the top, in your face, overdone, too big, including the way they speak. They just ramped the Klingons up in every way, and I think they just overreached a little bit.
Yeah, they did.
If they had pulled them back a little bit.
Look, even the ship, you look at the interior of the ship, Jocelyn, your wife said that it's just overdone. And it is, you don't know where to look because there's so much detail and pattern. I think it's kind of beautiful the way it looks, but I want to just freeze the frame and just stare at it. It's too distracting. There's too much going on.
Yeah, I want them to be more on a regular kind of ship. Like they're always in a big environment, and it is distracting because again, it's a great comment. I don't know where to look. I'm looking all over.
I'm a little disoriented.
Yeah,
and that's a big problem, especially with makeups and prosthetics and costuming. You need to have a focus, and if you don't know where to focus, it's not a successful makeup and costume.
Here's a little annoying thing because when the Klingons were talking, they had to have the subtitles. They didn't leave them on the screen long enough. Did you do that?
Some of them were too fast.
I couldn't read them all.
I noticed that too. Right? Yeah, tonight I totally noticed it. Yeah.
So they
just another couple of seconds would have been perfect.
Even,
I know.
Isn't there a person who has a job that knows exactly how long to leave the freaking text up on it?
Yeah, but they're a speed reader. Yeah. That's a problem.
So a couple of interesting things I found out this week that Ralph McQuarrie, who was the artist that George Lucas went to make the original artwork, to actually sell Star Wars to the studio, who is one of my favorite artists of all time. He designed Star Trek Discovery's ship. The ship, he designed the early designs, I think back in the 70s when they were thinking about doing another TV show or even an early movie concept.
70s?
So that, in the 70s. After the original Star Trek series. Yeah. So Ralph McQuarrie really is the designer of the Star Trek Discovery ship. It's a retro-looking ship because it was done back in the 70s.
Did you ever see it?
No, I never saw any of that artwork.
And that's a design they went with? It's not been significantly
modified?
No,
they modified it. They modified it, but the profile look is almost
identical. The profile is the same.
I'm liking the ship more every
week. I
love the profile.
Hey, how about the disc spinning? This was cool.
Whoa.
Is that connected to the drive?
Yeah. That's when they activate the spore drive, the primary hull counter rotates with the inner primary hull. I mean, they were going in opposite directions. All right, visually interesting. And when they activate the spore drive, they're very cool. It's a very cool effect. Hey, a new drive graphic. That's fine. Yeah. I'm totally fine with that. Bizarre, but what does it feel like if you're in the primary hull? It's like, whoa, we're spinning again. I mean,
they have inertial dampeners.
Oh, that's
of course.
And Heisenberg compensators.
CBS has spent $105 million on this 15 episodes that we're going to see. So it's 6 to 7 million an episode. That's a lot of money down on those episodes. That's almost where Game of Thrones is. I think Game of Thrones was doing 10 million.
But don't forget, Netflix pays them like $4 million an episode to have rights to outside of the United States. Yeah. So we had some people who were saying that we never talk about this whole streaming thing that CBS is doing. Have we covered that sufficiently? Do we want to?
I don't know. We mentioned it. I think the first episode. But in order to watch Star Trek Discovery, you need to get CBS All Access. They're really pushing their online streaming service, which is fine. We got it so that we could watch it. Yeah. So that's always a business calculation you have to make, I guess, right? Because either you use it as sort of a loss leader, right? Use it to bring people to your network, or you do it to sell this pay per service streaming service. So we'll see how it all works out. It is I know it's limiting how many people are watching.
Absolutely.
The show.
Yeah, I mean it's one too many. This is the problem getting this late into the streaming game. I've got 5 streaming services that that's a lot of money a month that we all have to pay.
But it's $6. It's Star Trek. I mean, they got an amazing huge bump, especially the opening weekend and subsequent days. They got huge bumps in memberships. And don't forget, if you're selling if Netflix is paying millions per episode, you don't need that many subscribers. If you get a few million, maybe you'll be good enough. I don't know, but it's they got our money.
Yeah. Well, the fans are demanding it, but it's more of the new audience that I'm thinking about. Maybe they should have given away a few more episodes, or give away every third episode, give it away. I don't know. It's a tough strategy. You're thinking of the hundreds of millions of dollars invested. They got to make their money back. I get it. Still, I don't want to spend the money. That's why I'm watching it at Steve's house.
Well, you kind of have to if we're going to be down there afterwards. Right. All right, I think
we're good. So go to our Facebook page, guys. You can go to see us at, you know where it's at because you're on Facebook watching this.
Quadrant 6.
Tell your friends. Please leave us comments. We're going to be happy to talk to listeners coming up. If at any point anybody
send us questions, send us suggestions. We're going to think
everything. We want all your comments.
Things we could do in the show, absolutely.
Thanks for coming this week. We'll see you next week. I gotta get back. Spawn!